All right. I think we're streaming. This is the first time doing a scheduled one through OBS and Restream. So I'm going to do my quick little check here to make sure we're live. I'd see it on Twitch. Make sure we're live. I'd see it on Twitch, on X. I also hear me, which is not great. All right. I think we're okay. And this seems good. Is it actually working? Maybe. What's happening here? I see. Okay. Cool. We're live. All right. So this is the first, I guess, official one. I did some testing last week. Had some issues with Twitch, and what I found in chatting with their support was that there's just a bitrate setting I had to handle in OBS. Anyways, that's working and not part of the point at all. What we're going to do today is we're going to try to build a custom living room basketball scoreboard. And if I get far enough, fast enough, my goal is to have it voice activated. And I haven't really thought all the way through this. So we're going to kind of do this together in real time and see how far we can get in about an hour or so. All right, so I think the first thing I should really do is set up like what is the game and what is the thing we're trying to build. Also, it's 9 a.m. for me, and I was like, maybe if I do this more in the morning, can make it a kind of like a bagels and build with bagels, something like that. And I totally messed up the bagel this morning. I got them frozen. One, didn't slice them before I froze them, which is a rookie mistake. So I take them out. I also don't have a microwave. So I take them out, I took it out, wrapped it in foil, put it in the toaster oven just to like steam it for a while, and then slice it, and then toast it. And I walked away from the toaster. Totally ruined it. So much work wasted, but I shouldn't say totally ruined it. I have high standards for bagels, but this isn't about bagels. This is about basketball and building a scoreboard. Okay, so I recorded this voice note a couple weeks ago in preparation for doing this video and this build, and I'll give voice notes a little plug here. I really like it. I mean, with as far as things have advanced today, you could spin up something similar and for you, but I just kind of like that it's a native app. If I'm on my phone or I'm at the computer, I can pull it. It's web-based for the computer, so I can pull it up, record a note, and then I get this transcript. And then I have all sorts of different workflows that start here. They're all manual today, so I think in one of these future streams, I want to look at automating this process a little bit more. But not today. Today, we're going to build this basketball thing. What I had done, maybe a week or so ago, about a week and a half ago, is I recorded a voice note with the rules for the game, because I thought, we're gonna prompt Claude to help through this process, but I wanted the rules to be there. Otherwise, it's a lot to explain, and it's going to be the foundation for how we build the app. But I will take a minute and explain it to you. So, during the pandemic, one of the years, I have kids that are 7 and 4 today. So early pandemic, we just had a 2-year-old hanging around, and my parents had gifted her one of these Little Tykes basketball hoops. And it's short. It's probably about, I don't know if it says here, probably about 4 feet tall or something like that. And the only one who used it for years was me. And this is mid-pandemic. And so I'm going a little bit mildly insane, and also wanting to move a bit more. And so we don't have a big house, but I made space to create this living room basketball game. And so the concept, I won't go through all of this. We'll build and we'll see if it works or not. But it's something that exists in my tiny living room, but that really it could be expanded to an actual court, or whatever. It's more about just like the scoring system and all of that. And so I will briefly explain this, and I think we'll kind of just do like some progressive disclosure, because we'll use all of this in our initial prompt, and then I'll come back and explain some bits and pieces if it's working or not. And we'll kind of like pretend we're playing and see if the scoreboard works or not. And then we'll kind of go from there. And what I want to show today is my thought process when I am building these new apps. And Emmett over on X asks, is Voice Notes the native Mac one? Yes, it is. Well, I'm not using it natively. I don't know if they have a native desktop version. They do have a native iOS that I use on the phone. So it's really great for just like being the crazy person in the neighborhood and recording journal entries or blog post topics or something while I'm doing a morning stroll. And it's just voicenotes.com. Yeah, really, really great. Okay. So I can't copy from here, can I, as well? We'll do it the old fashioned way. All right. So let's get into it. Let's roll. All right. I'm going to come over to Warp over here. All right. I've taken different approaches to getting started on new projects. What I've been doing lately is just creating an empty shell of a directory and then kind of telling Claude to do whatever. In the past, I've gone through stages where I've been like, let's run all the CLI commands so that the boilerplate is there. We've got the latest, but we can tell Claude to do that. So let's make a directory here, and we're going to call it. We'll call it living room ball scoreboard. All right, and then let's go in there, and we'll open up Claude. I've been finding myself opening up VS Code less and less, and just saying like, okay, I mean, I can look if I need to, but do I need to? Also, one of the first things I do, I hit the Shift tab, and we end up with accepting the edits on here. Also, this is so delightful. It's a little wintry guy. Okay, so let's see where we start. So one of my strategies is to, I think the one-shot approach is certainly cool. I see my head's in the way of this, so let's actually go the other direction. One-shotting is cool, and it's an art in itself. I like to, I assume most times when I start a project that I don't actually have the full thing figured out. And so I'm going to do it step by step. The other thing is that I can really go down a rabbit hole kind of dreaming up the visuals for a site. And so I kind of naturally work with Claude the way that I'm used to writing code, which is I want the functionality and the logic in there first, and then I will come back and really think about like how to refine the design. What's really cool about Claude, or just AI code agents in general, is that we're going to start with something. We're going to have a decent design that's not just unstyled text. But anyways. All right, we're going to say, let's build a custom basketball scoreboard app. And the other thing is I'm going to start really simple here, and I just want to put the mechanism in for the scoreboard itself, and then we can add some bells and whistles, because I've had some thoughts like I would like to record changes in point values or whatever, and maybe even like compare games to different games. And then there's the actual like how we use the thing while I'm also playing the game. And that's where, if we can get to it, the voice driven stuff will come in. So anyways, let's build a custom basketball scoreboard app. Let's just start super generic and see what happens. All right, so we're gonna say following these rules, And I copy the right stuff. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let's see. And the other thing, I usually come with a decently strong opinion on the stack that we're going to use. When I don't specify, often I'm going to end up with Vite and React, and in this particular case, I think that's totally fine. Okay, so here's what it's summarized in terms of the rules. It's 10-minute session with a continuous clock. Unlimited games per session. I can talk a little bit more about that. But basically, like, it's time-based. You have 10 minutes. It runs. If you lose, you keep going. This was very exercise motivated. So it was like, look, we're just going to keep playing. We reset a session. A game within a session can get reset to 0 if you lose all your, I call them misses, like lives in a game or something like that, but misses. And so if you end up with multiple games in a session, we count the highest one. You're not overwriting or anything. And so you have this concept of misses, and that's what keeps your session alive and keeps you scoring points. And your points, if we think about an actual basketball court, the points can only be scored at the free throw line, and but they can be multiplied by, let's call it like the 3-point line or something like that. Okay, so it's actually asking me the stack here, and I think, I'm for the last few years, Astro has been my go-to framework. I'm going to say React and Vite here, and then tell you why. It's saying which one. I actually don't know which device I'm going to run first. So let's just let's go with responsive design and let it roll. Okay, so Astro is optimized for content sites, and but it's got support to build anything, and me just having defaulted to Netlify for years. There's server-side rendering, and there's a lot that you just don't have to think about, but you can plug in any amount of customization that you want. All right, and we're going to end up having to say yes to a handful of things. Claude really likes to ask questions. I'm not going to read. There we go. Okay, so sometimes I just want to be like, you know what I really should do is look at, are there some things where I can just be like, yes, you can do this in any repo. Stop talking to me. Just do it. Okay, so Astro was that tool. I've been starting to poke around a little bit in TanStack, really liking what I found, and I'm thinking of, but I'm new to that, and so for me, when I'm using an AI agent to write code on my behalf, even though I'm finding myself looking at the code less and less, there's just something kind of comforting, let's call it, about about knowing, like, being able to quickly debug what's going on. I know how Astro works. I know how React works. And if we have a problem, then I can dig in and I can debug it if the AI agent has trouble. Now, a year ago, that happened all the time. I need a shift now because I actually find myself looking at the code less and less and kind of like using agents against each other when we really need it. So anyways, I'm going to get into TanStack a bit. And I think that'd be fun to kind of learn manually on a stream so that I can feel confident and start to introduce that a little bit more. They're doing really, really cool stuff over there. Okay, so I should say so. But for really simple sites, I've noticed, like when I use Bolt, and if you don't know Bolt, Bolt's a great little tool. Bolt.new little vibe coding application. Application, and there's like nice lots of opinion and context baked in here. But if you don't specify, it's going to almost always give you Vite and React. And I love that Claude here prompted me to say, "Do you have an opinion?" And lately, I've just been going with React and Vite for simple apps. If it's a content site, Astro, where I'm going to pre-render most of the pages. If it's more interactive and it's really simple, Vite and React. And what I'll start reaching for is I kind of dip my toes into more complex applications, is leaning on something like TanStack, which really has that robust library to be able to scale pretty easily. All right, so we're building a lot of stuff, and we might want to look at the code. So let's. Oh, it looks like did it. Oops. Let's look for basketball. It's not in there. Where? Okay, this is. I did think I saw something about it renaming. I have not experienced that before. Oh yeah, because I just called it ball. All right. Well, it should. I don't. It's the same thing, right? Yeah. Weird. Okay. Well, let's go there. All right. Now we should be able to open it up. There we go. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. So. Oh, we're already testing here. Okay, it's fine. I'm always running several different applications here, so we got to see. What I can do here is hit escape and say, oh, what was it trying to do? Which I forget which port for Vite. It's 5173, right? Okay. Let's say you can kill the process on 5173. I have this thing where I feel like I often want Claude or whatever tool we're using to use a build to test, because I want to be running the dev server and doing my manual test there as well. All right. Need to approve that one as well. Okay. So let's see if if this runs quickly. Yes, you can run. You can run these things. Oh, we got a background task. All right. I saw this come out pretty recently. I don't remember when, but it's very cool that it can just throw some tasks in the background. All right. So yeah, in the past, it'd been like I've seen my AI agent run the dev server, but then it has control of it, and I don't have access to the logs or whatever, and so I have to kill it. And so I often just just build. But it's gotten way better in the last couple of months, and I find myself I still want to run the server, see the logs manually, but letting it do what it wants a little bit more and more. All right. Well, the app is running. Let's. We don't have to read through this. Maybe we just take it for a spin. Okay. Actually, no, let's read it. Why not? All right. So we got a 10-minute session timer, 2 game modes. So that's kind of a lot of the rules and the logic around the rules is going to be dependent on when are you in point mode, which is when you can actually score points, and when are you in multiplier mode, which is when you're multiplying the points that you can score. And there's a lot of rules around that. So you and what I have found is the way we optimize the gameplay is that you multiply as much as you can with some without introducing too much risk to losing to running out of all your misses. Especially later in the session if you're kind of like getting up there, and because every time, it takes time to shoot, and but there's a balance there. Like I've gotten up to like 20 or 30x as a multiplier, and then if you miss one of those points, because you only get 5-point shots for every multiplier that you stop on. I've just seen it like, that hurts. Anyways, we don't have to go kind of explain this as we roll. But let's run this dev server. We'll run it here because I'm kind of hopeful that we. Oh, so if I went, is this? Oh, I wonder. Okay, I just said maybe it's doing its own thing, and then I didn't trust that. So let's see if it works. 5173. Is that running? It is running. Amazing. Okay, so let's kind of like simulate this gameplay and then see where we can go from there. So we're going to start our 10-minute session. We got our timer, and we are currently in multiplayer mode, multiplier mode. And so let's kind of actually, if I just interact with this, you might help explain the game itself. All right, so let's say we make one, we miss one, we make another one. I found that when I'm down to 2 misses is when I need to stop the multiplier thing, but especially early on, I don't really want the multiple. It's basically like the rules change when you hit a multiple of 10. We'll see that here in a minute. So generally, this is kind of like a decent spot to start from, 4x and 2. All right, so we're gonna leave multiplayer mode and go into point mode, and we get freebies every time we pass value of a multiple of 10. So let's just see how this works. So I can hit make, and now I've got 4 points. I can hit make again, and now let's see what happens here okay, so I passed that multiple of 10. I have 12 points now, and I have the opportunity to go back into multiplayer mode. But if I stay in point mode, I'm stuck in point mode. The other thing is, until you make the next shot after reaching a multiple of 10, your misses are free, or at least you get these 3 freebies. So if I miss now, I don't actually spend a miss, and I gained a miss because I passed that multiple of 10. So that's like what keeps this game rolling. But now I can't go back into multiplayer mode. So I have to go make, right? And then this freebies probably should have disappeared at that point. And now if I miss, I'm going to actually, it's still spending the freebies. So that part is not right. And then, yes. Okay, so there's 2 things that we got wrong here. And I'm going to explain these as I'm typing. So, like this is close. Let's adjust some of the rules. Logic. All right. So first up, we'll say the 3 freebies when passing a multiple of 10 should only remain active until a shot is made. So I can give it an example. So if I reached 20 points, I get those 3 freebies. But once I make my next shot, let's say I have 24 points, the freebies go away, and if I miss, I spend misses, okay? And then the other one was that that actually might capture both of those issues. Let's start there and see what happens. So this is generally the way I'm going to work is by just like, let's get the logic in place, and then we can add some of the cool little bells and whistles. Yeah, okay. So there's while I was iterating on the game rules many years ago, what I basically got to this point where I was trying to make it design it in a way where it wasn't so hard that it would be super frustrating. So there's just a lot of rules baked in about when you get, you get these freebies, you start with some 3 lives, and then you can add more and more as you cross multiples of 10. And so, yeah, it's either like I'm going to get maybe somewhere around 20 and then die and have to start over, or I can get up to somewhere in the hundreds, even 200s every time. If I get going and get on a streak. All right, so let's we started a new session. Let's try that same thing. So let's say I missed, or I missed once. I made 3 multiple. Actually, one thing I want to check here. Okay, so the multiplayer is, or multiply. Why do I keep saying that? Why do I keep saying that? Multiplier is at 1. All right, so we're gonna make, miss, make. All right, then we're gonna decide to go into point mode. And here, let's see. Okay, so a miss spends that freebie. Now I make one. Freebie's gone. Cool. I make another one, and now if I pass 10, I get my miss back, and I have my freebies reset. Cool. We're gonna miss and lose a freebie, not a miss, and then we're gonna make, and then we're gonna miss again. We spend that miss. And then, oh, this was the other thing. Now I'm still in this multiplier, and it's doing this. So it's gonna, okay. So the other thing is that misses, let's see, when in point mode, a miss uses up one of the 5 shots for the current multiplier. So if I, let's say the example is if I'm at 16 with a 4x multiplier and I miss, then the multiplier 4 times, and I miss after making 4 shots, then the multiplier resets to 1x, and I'm forced to stay in point mode at 1x until I reach the next multiple of 10. All right. And so what I had said was, if we can get this right, ultimately what I want to do is add a database to start tracking this over sessions and look at making it voice activated as well. Okay, and I could keep typing here, but I want to get the logic right first. And I also could play with this UI. Honestly, this is fine. This is fine. I don't need it to be fancy. If I was doing something a little different, I might have more opinions about the actual design style. But for now, this is fine. Okay. And oh yeah, this what I wanted to check on was if I make. Is that going to work? What happened there? There we go. So this also works nicely on the phone. Very cool. Okay. Oh, yeah, I had to reload. Okay. Super duper. Are we done? We're done. Let's give it another reload. All right. Let's take our same scenario again. We're going to enter point mode. We're going to miss. All right, we're going to go up. And then now if I miss here, I spend that freebie, not the miss. But I also spent a shot. So, actually, no. Now this is wrong. What the heck? Okay. We're going to make 4. And then what I did was, all right, we're going to make, miss, spends a freebie, but not the multiplier. Now we're, okay, so that worked. I feel like did it actually do this right? All right, we're gonna enter point mode. We're gonna make, then we're gonna miss, which should spend a miss, good. And then we should be maxed out, I think at 12. Yeah, okay, maybe I didn't reload it at the right time. This feels good. Okay, so to me, it feels like that's a stopping point. I don't commit after every prompt response and change, but kind of usually group those together. And so there's like a thing I want to do, and once I can do that thing, then I commit. So this looks good. Let's be excited about it. Commit the changes. Or like, if it's not there. All right, now next I want to, if we could do the database stuff, that's kind of cool for like stats, and we could do some comparison and stuff like that. It also should go pretty easy. The part that I don't know anything about is the voice piece of it. And I've come across, what is it called? It's called, I think 11 Labs is what it is. Yes. So this is what I was leaning toward using. But I also don't know if there's there might be a model that supports this type of work, and we could use Netlify's new AI gateway feature, which I really like, because then I don't need to spin up an account with one of these providers, because my assumption here is that this gives us some features, but under the hood is probably a model that I can access directly, and we could just spin up our own custom agent within this app. I'm not totally sure, but that's something I think we should ask Claude to do. Great. Okay. This is something I started doing really not all that long ago, was telling Claude to do the Git work. In the past, what I had been doing was I would use the Git feature in VS Code, and then I mapped a shortcut combo key to automatically generate the commit message. The thing is, it's spreading that work and that context across 2 different agents. So when I tell Copilot to do it, it has to go read everything that changed. Versus when I'm working in a session with Claude, it already has all the context, and it knows when it committed last, so it knows what it should be committing. Assuming I didn't change code elsewhere, it doesn't have to read much to make that happen. Okay, so now what I want to do is control the scoreboard with my voice. Here's another thing I'm going to show you. Let's see here. There's this Netlify API route. So api.netlify.com/API/v1/AI gateway/providers. And this gives us this list of everything that the AI gateway is currently supporting. So we've got Anthropic, Gemini, and OpenAI, and then a series of models underneath each one. So what I can tell Claude to do, here's how I'm thinking about this. If there is a way that we could pretty easily spin up a custom agent to do this work, that's going to be my preference, because we've got more control. We've got control over the spending. We've got control over prompting, token usage, slightly more so than we would if we use a third-party service. And again, I don't need another account to do this kind of work. So I'm saying now what I want to do is control the scoreboard with my voice. And also the other thing I'm going to say here is that I'm usually using my voice to type some of these longer prompts. I think it's helpful here to type them out. And also I have found that if I use this tool, which is Whisperflow, I'm getting totally sidetracked here, but I think it's whisperflow.ai. This thing is awesome. Highly recommend checking this out. There's another one I think called Super Whisper or something like that. And this is just really, really great for moving faster than I can type. It also, it removes the ums and the ahs and things like that. Okay, so I'm copying this URL. And we're going to say, all right, now what I want to do is control the scoreboard with my voice. Here are the models. Let's see. I want to use Netlify's AI gateway if we can find a suitable model for this. Here are the models and providers currently supported. And then say like, I think probably use native browser APIs if possible. And build the custom agent using Netlify functions. Something I've had to do lately, because there's so much information out there about functions, in particular older functions, that it often gets the syntax wrong. So so like, let's say find the package and usage instructions here. And then you know what, let's see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. So while that is cooking, one of the other things I've been thinking about is I would like to store every single transaction that happens, because I think that we could get really, this is a useless, silly game, but it's fun. And especially this time of year for me, sidewalks covered in ice and snow. A lot of the times it's really cold to go on a run. It was in the was like 2 degrees Fahrenheit, which is I think negative. Wait, we can do this. Here's a Raycast thing. 2 Fahrenheit is negative 16 Celsius. It was like that on Monday morning. It's like I'm not going for a run. I want to get some exercise here. But if we have every transaction captured, so every time there's a new game, there's a new player, whatever, for that game, I guess we should call it a round, because there's games within a round, something like that. That, yes, we could do like high score or whatever, but if we record every single one, there's just some really, I think, fun stats that we could pull, and perhaps a future stream could be adding the data visualization to that. So I'm looking at the time here, and I don't want to go on forever. I think if we can get the voice thing done, we can start to wrap up from there. Or maybe we'll add the database piece, or maybe I'll come back to do that in a little bit. Let's see where we land. I don't know why. Oh, it's looking for the AI gateway docs. Okay, cool. So right now, Claude is doing the research, so it knows usage, and we haven't written any code yet, so that'll probably take a minute or two. So yeah, what I was thinking was, I don't want to take my eyes off of that too much. Let's do this. Boop, in case it asks me something. Here we are. Okay, it's gonna build. I was envisioning of this as like, okay, so the way that you maximize point usage here is to move really fast. It's a timed thing, and it meant to move really quickly. Lord. Okay. So what I thought would be really cool, and I hadn't really thought about like computer or phone or whatever. I mean, I think another feature that could be really fun to add in a future stream would be if we could open some sort of like WebSocket for a game, so that I could pull up my computer screen on the TV and have it as just kind of like the scoreboard, but then maybe the phone is the controller. Maybe I have earbuds in connected to that phone or something like that. But my thought was that there's only 4 buttons here right now. So as I'm controlling it, and there's also another aspect of complexity that we could add in here as well. But I'm not going to mess with that right now. So there's only 4 buttons. So my thought was like, you would have this like array of things that you could say that would tell the app to follow that would equate it to a button, one of the 4 button clicks. So I was envisioning something like, saying like going into point mode or something like that, and it is like clicking that button. Or make, or it's good, or Yahoo is a make, and a miss is miss, or maybe any of relevant curse words. I don't know. Okay, so look at this. It is and again, you see me. I'm working a little bit different than I'm used to. I think there's an evolution happening where I used to really dictate. I used to dictate way finer grained details, and we're kind of running this test here to be like, what can you do with just the logic from, versus dictating the technical decisions as well. And then it made an interesting choice. Okay, we're going to use Anthropic. I mean, it's Claude, so it should probably reach for Anthropic. And it looks like it's setting up this prompt. Let's. Okay, so I'm going to show you also the like type. It's not type ahead, but the queuing. So I can say is use MTS for Netlify functions. And that'll hang there and run after this is done. Okay, I wanted to open up voice command. Let's do that. Let's put this over here too, so we can, whoops. Okay. Maybe it's already changed it for me. No, there's nothing in here yet. There it is. Okay, it had removed the JavaScript and wrote the TypeScript. All right, so let's make this a little bit bigger so I can read. All right, so we've got this system prompt. Oh yes, I was saying like this is what I imagine it would be if I were building it, and it's exactly that. This is awesome. Okay, so you're a voice control. Let's make it even bigger so I can read this. You're a voice command interpreter for a basketball scoring app. Your job is to interpret spoken commands and return the appropriate action. Yes. The app has 2 modes. So multiplayer mode, point mode. Great. And then actions, make, miss. There's the entering the point mode, multiplayer mode, start session, start game. And so these are ones that I didn't actually think of. I don't care about hitting the button, but also, yeah, if I don't have to have that device around me and I can just say start, then we're good to go. So it's going to ask it for a very specific response structure. And look at this. Okay, so we're going to say, oh, great. Made it. Swish. Yes. Got it. Make. In. Score. All aliases for making it. Missed. Miss. No. Brick. Airball. Out. Point mode. Points. Go to points. Switch to points. Very, very interesting. All right. So we see this here. Be flexible with pronunciation and similar sounding words. If unsure, return unknown with low confidence. All right, and what do we have over here? Okay, so the app is running. There's this browser, there's the speech HP. Yep, okay, so that's my architecture. There we go. So to test locally, the voice button will work for speech recognition. Yes. Okay. So here's this is great that it picked this up. The AI processing requires deploying to Netlify first so that the AI gateway is configured, which is 100% true, because otherwise we're not connected to Netlify in any way. We can do this super quickly. So we're going to say Netlify deploy prod, and I have already installed the Netlify CLI. We're going to create a new project. Call it, there we go. And what did I call this? Living room ball scoreboard. And here's let's open this up. Whoops. Why did I do that? Okay. Jeez. I don't know where's my, lost my browser somehow. Okay, anyways, here we go. Let's open that up. And where to link. So, I mean, we see this, this works, whatever. Great. But I needed to create this this project so that my local project is linked to that Netlify project. And so then the AI inference gets spent through that project on Netlify, and which makes these, which would make the environment variables for Anthropic available to us. Now, there's a trick to this as well, because if I just run, let's say like kill the dev server. I'm doing that for a reason, because if we were to just run npm run dev and not do any sort of Netlify configuration or anything like that, we're going to run the Vite development server. Historically, then what we've needed to do if we want to add in support for Netlify primitives is things that only work in production that we want to work here. Like for example, putting a function like this in Netlify functions, if you just run npm run dev without anything else with for Vite, then there's no way to get to this at all. There's no API, there's no backend, there's nothing like that. What we could do is we can download the Netlify CLI and run Netlify dev, and that will wrap the Vite command, and then it will make things like this function available in local development. But that, that's kind of like an extra step, when what we found over the last year or so is that we can tap into the Vite process as a plugin. And so we did that, and now it looks like it did install the right package, which is Netlify Vite plugin. We note the plugins here. Now, I'm going to caveat this by saying we've noticed some issues in the last few days about the AI gateway specifically working through this plugin. And if that doesn't work, that's no problem. We'll just temporarily take the Netlify plugin out and use Netlify Dev directly. So we've killed our dev server. This is just because I want to test it. Now we can run npm run dev, and because we have that plugin, we see that once that server starts, we even loaded the Netlify environment and emulators for all the platform primitives in production. So if this worked properly, we can, okay, speech recognition. Should we try it? Okay. I wonder if Claude can tell me here. What is the support? How about this? What is the support for speech API? I'm using Zen and seeing there's a message. It says, I imagine I could just, I mean, we can let it research, but assuming it's not going to work, let me grab a new browser. Okay, we don't need that full screen. All right. All right, moving things around. There we go. Okay. Chrome Edge Safari. Okay. Nah, let's not. No, we're not going to. It's offering to provide a fallback for those Firefox-based browsers. So let's just not mess with that at the moment. All right. Let's see if we can do it. Ready? We're going to access the microphone. Cool. Oh. Let's see if we're getting. Now, when this happens, the fastest thing to do, say, no, that's okay. I use Arc. Currently seeing this error. And then what I can do is, I usually say, like, we need to debug. Say, you know, can you help me debug? Help me debug. As I noted, I do think there is a known issue about the AI gateway working locally, specifically through this Vite plugin at the moment. Last I saw yesterday afternoon, there were some folks working on it. Assuming that is the case, what we can do is we can temporarily rip out the Netlify plugin and we'll just use Netlify directly. Oh, okay. It is not that yet. It's a browser-based issue, not our code. Not using VPN or firewall. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it's going to tell me what to do. We're going to say privacy and security. We'll open that up. These are our system preferences. And we're going to make sure that Arc is checked. Oh, microphone. Got to go to microphone. Where are you, microphone? There it is. Yep. Okay. Good there. the lock icon in the address bar. Click the, wait a minute, whoops. Click the lock icon in the address bar, site settings, microphone allow. I did just do that, so I'm thinking that's not the case. I also don't know. Oh no, what am I doing? Okay. Let's try it. I mean, it's okay. Let's see. We should be good there. All right, we can try to quit, restart it again. Let's see what happens. All right. There we go. Okay. Let's open this up. Okay, so check internet connection, and I'm obviously on the internet streaming this. No, okay. So, let's see. Let's go here. Sites can ask to use your microphone. This is allowed to use the microphone. Okay. Okay. On settings. And here's the error. And just making sure that I am actually doing this right. Let's see. I'm still kind of suspicious that this might be. You know what? While it's doing it, let's do this manual change. We're debugging here. Let's do it. I'm gonna kill that dev server, and what I'm gonna do here. Great. So now instead of running npm run dev, we're gonna run netlify dev and see if we run into the same issue or not. I've hit my hour mark, but I feel like we're in the middle of this thing. So let's see if we can get this done and save the database for a future date. All right, we're installing some extensions locally before we boot up. And then what's going to happen is it will boot the Vite dev server, and then it will wrap it. So we're doing this a little bit more manually. Oh, okay. It's saying that Google restricts their web search API to primarily work in Chrome itself. Well, in that case, let's give that a test. So let's put those back. And then I do think I have Chrome. God, I haven't run this thing in a long time. Let's see if we can get there. Okay. Yep, got the notification badge. All right, localhost 5173. I gotta start this up again. All right. Aha. Well, I guess I saw that last time too. I'm just going to let it work. Sure. Okay, here we go. So let's, it's still, well, I got it started. All right, let's take this for a ride. Let's see. It's good. Don't know if it heard that. It's good. Make. Okay, turn that off. And we're going to say, I mean, this progress is great. Let's say, okay. It appears to be listening in Chrome, which is great, but within the game, let's say, can you log some output so I can see what it's seeing and debug? It's not seeing it, it's hearing it. I guess maybe it's seeing it, and I don't know. Does an AI agent see, or does it just read? But reading is seeing. Does it hear, or does it read sound? It probably reads sound, right? I don't know. That's an existential question I was not expecting to explore today. Okay, we're gonna get some more logging, and we might see it here, but we've got it open in the browser as well. So let's that broke that. Yeah, right. Okay. So right now it's just adding a bunch of console logs, which is great. That's what I want. Try saying make or miss, check the console output. What do we see? Let's try this again. Let's go. I'm gonna turn that off for a second so I can talk to you. All right, we're looking over here. It's calling it, and it got that action, which is sent back, and then the front end responds. Really, really, really cool. So cool. All right, let's try this. Make. Make. It's good. Oh, you know what? I'm in a multiplier mode. I wonder if it was working previously and I just wasn't paying attention to that. That could totally be the case. That could totally be the case. Okay. Point mode. Make. Miss. Make. Make. Okay, so what this shows me is that this is working. The API is working and the speech is working, which is really cool. I suspect there's going to be a lot of debugging as we want it to be constantly listening. I was thinking of things like what I just discovered here is that, look, we're still adding, it was calling make, but it was actually still adding a multiplier. It wasn't embedded. It wasn't the same as clicking this button for some reason. So that's what I would dig into next. And then we'll have to think of things like, once it hears something, it processes it. But with that Chrome speech API, if we do something like, it should be one thing at a time, but we would also want to account for like, well, if it didn't hear me and then I noticed that on a second shot and I say make and miss, then we wanted to count both of those things rather than just the last piece. But what's really cool here is this is working. Okay, so let's kind of recap and close it down for the day. So we got the scoreboard up and running really quickly. I did a lot of talking while Claude did a lot of coding, and it's not actually that simple. I think it probably comes off as fairly simple, but it's really not. There's a lot of logic baked in, and that all really came from, I don't have it pulled up anymore, but it came from that voice note of me talking through all the intricacies of the rules and all of that. And Claude took that information and got it almost perfect right away, which is incredible to me because that's a lot of logic to work through. And if I was doing that manually, that would have it would have taken hours. And then this is far, far, far from perfect and being usable for me, like running back and forth and yelling, make, miss, fuck. And, and so, there's a lot of honing to do with the voice portion itself. And as I mentioned a number of times here, I really want to capture the data, and make this more like, yeah, we're going to enter a session, but we really need to, it just needs to get buttoned up quite a bit more before it's actually usable. And really another hour should get us pretty close. So I may come back for a part 2 of this. I might try to tinker with this a little bit on the side and then share some results as well. But this was pretty fun to just kind of open up, tinker. I hadn't messed with the speech API, and once I got found the right browser for it, is like, this is pretty cool. A lot we can do with this. But at the beginning, we said, if there's time, we'll get to the voice. We got to the voice. That feels like success. So with that, I'm going to close it down. I'll see you all next time. The next 2 weeks are holiday weeks. I am planning, like we saw here, you can just do so much in an hour. And that's going to be a lot of my holiday break, is just looking at like, oh, okay, well, what can I create in an hour, or what can I move forward in an hour? And a lot of that for me, while the houses that I'm at are crowded, it's really going to happen early in the morning in a space where I need to be quiet. So I'm at this point not expecting any streams over the next 2 weeks, but that might change. I might decide to do a Monday or a Tuesday and just build something out live here. We'll see how that goes. But follow me wherever you prefer. I'll try to do the schedule, get the schedule set as much as possible. And yeah, we'll roll from there and see what we can build, of course. So I'm generally doing X, YouTube, and Twitch, and yeah, totally open to suggestions. We'll find a way to build some fun stuff. But this is great. This says that I got this far enough that I now have this itch to really like, all right, what can we, where can we go next with this thing? So thanks for joining me on this early journey. And once this is all buttoned up and everything, I can, even if I don't do another stream, I'll share a link to it. But I've got to go for now. And thanks for being here.